Welcome to Radiant Moments, a place where caregivers find hope, healing, and connection. I'm your host, Michelle, and today we have an extraordinary conversation ahead. Pamela Michaux is the author of Mundele Diaries, a raw and powerful memoir chronicling her journey from childhood trauma in Congo and Europe towards reclaiming her voice and identity. Pamela's story is one of survival against overwhelming odds, facing racism, abuse, and betrayal, and rising to become a fierce protector and inspirational voice for anyone who's ever felt unseen or unloved. Her courage to speak the truths that most are afraid to touch breaks generational silence and offers hope for emotional freedom. Pamela, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story with Radiant Moments. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you, Michelle, for having me.
Pamela, your childhood was marked by unimaginable challenges. You were sent alone from Congo to Belgium at just 7 years old, separated from your mother and thrust into a world filled with pain and silence. Can you share what that moment was like, being so young, uprooted, and left to fend for yourself?
Well, the thing is, when you go through certain separation, especially from a very young age, and it's your parents telling you it was for a better life, but the reality, when my mother sent me away, she didn't know what was waiting for me over there. So as a child, I was afraid, the unknown, different country, different culture, people I never met, even though they were on my father's side. Didn't know what to expect over there. Being born in Congo, I was basically the white child over there. And then coming to Belgium, I became the black child. So already it was a struggle that started within the family and then obviously expanded to other people, classmates, people in the streets. The difference was very obvious for me, even as a child. But fear and panic was already rooted in me. And we all have that from a very young age. That we want or not, there are things that we are wired with that your body actually react before even your mind can put words and thoughts to it. That it's a very uncomfortable feeling. And as we grow older, we start actually putting words to it, but our body knows before we actually put words to it.
When you're looking at something brand new, even as an adult, you always have those primal programming there for you. And as a child, when uncertainty hits, it's so profound, the impact and the trauma that those unexpected unknowns cause, even at times with the best planning. I know that by the age of 12, you had already taken legal action to protect your siblings from abuse. That's an immense responsibility for any child. What gave you the strength in that turmoil to step into that role as their protector and caregiver?
Well, you have to understand that I'm the oldest from the 3 children. So I have a brother who's 14 months younger and a sister who's 5 years younger. And often, and especially in African culture, you get responsibility that you don't even ask for or want. And even in any culture, the oldest always get the blame in a way. You should show example. You should do this. You should do that. And with my sister and my brother, I did not want them to continue having the pain that I was enduring, especially for me, in my case, for my sister, because she was a girl. I wasn't even thinking at that point for my brother, but I said, like, she will be next. If I don't step in, she will endure what I'm enduring. And that's the basic. We don't always do things for ourselves. We do things for the people we love because we want to protect them, because we didn't have the person who actually could protect us. So we become the protector for the unprotected. And people who've been through pain, I see you nodding and you feel it as well. We don't take the step for us because we do not see ourselves as the victim. We just don't want another person to suffer what we've been through. And it's the same for mothers who are, or fathers who are going to abuse, because it's on both sides. It's not only women who suffer, it's also men who suffer from narcissistic behaviors in their relationship or in any kind of abuse, that it's emotional, physical, sexual, whatever abuse you're going through. We often feel very isolated and ashamed to even talk about it and put light to it. So the step that we make to make actually a change, it's for the people we love, that it's our kids, our siblings, anyone that is close to us. We do not want them to suffer as we suffer. Why? Because we know how painful it is. And in a way, we want to save them because we want to be saved, but we do it unconscious. At least I can speak for my case. And obviously, when you write a book and you start speaking publicly, people come to you and they say, thank you so much, because when you were talking, I could feel the little child in me, because it's always, even as a grown up, the little child that will suffer inside. Why we didn't give it the time and the space to heal. So when you hear someone in pain, you relate that pain in what you endured or what you're going through. So it's the child in you that wants to break free, but actually is trapped unless you actually face what is hurting you or what hurt you and said, I want change. If it's not for me, I will do it for someone else. So that was my first step, actually, at age of 10. I tried already to break free from there, but I was sent back. It took me by the police because they knew. And at 12, so it took me another 2 years to find the courage. And I said, this time I will do it right. And that's what I did. So I was placed in an orphanage. My sister and my brother were still in their care. And I started investigation with the government, where they were sending people, interviewing schools. Obviously, the day I ran away, I was fully bruised. And so I slept 2 weeks in the street. I used to go wash to classmates, asking them, can I come when your parents are not there? Because I was afraid that they will talk or someone will call the police, because obviously I was a runaway child. And then I had a teacher who was actually my basketball coach at the same time, who told me, let me help you before. And I trusted. And he saw many times that I couldn't go do my training because my legs were bruised, because the face is obvious. But when you play basketball, you play it in shorts. So my legs were bruised. They used to hit us like very violently, not just little slaps, where you were praying almost that you will not wake up. So it was like almost you lived an experience where your body is there, but your mind is not there.
Goes into protection mode.
Yes. And often I tell people, when you're going to experience and you don't know if it's right or wrong, try to get back connected, because your body tells you more than your mouth or your mind even can say or put the words to. It's like if someone lifts a hand, automatically you will have a reaction. It's because your body knows that you are in danger. So it's very fast. So you move away. And that's some kind of triggers or ways that you will know how to realize what is good and not. If you feel uncomfortable next to someone, your body knows before something already happened. If you feel fear, that's also a way to recognize that you're not actually crazy. No, because often we question ourselves, is it really this or is it really that? Especially the danger with people who've been through abuse and abusive patterns. It's not normalized, it's not a word, but it's like you get used to it and you think like it's not that bad and you find excuses, or it's not you don't want to see the reality, but sometimes the fear to actually say, this is abuse, it's so big that you'll make it look nicer than it actually is.
And I guess also because, like you said, it's covered up a lot of the time. It's only in circumstances where people see the physical implications. And sometimes abuse is not just physical, there's the emotional as well as the mental. There's so many layers to it. And when you talked about just then about your inner child and stepping up into a role of being the protector, and that in those moments you are thinking, I don't want this to occur to another person. And you're not thinking about what about the impact it's had on me. And that doesn't come till a lot later when you take on that role of caregiver. And particularly because there isn't space, you're just trying to get from one moment to the next whilst making sure that what you experienced does not continue to be experienced by the person that you're wanting to protect. And I was struck by your reflection in the promise that the constant turmoil at home and the challenges at school taught us resilience. We learned to find light in each other, even when the world seemed dark. It was the kind of strength that grows in shadows. That quiet strength you speak of, how did it guide you then and shape your caregiving journey?
I prayed and I believed in good. And for me, wherever you are, whatever dark place you were in, I mean, don't forget I was sent away at the age of 7. I started to become responsible at the age of 8 for my sister who was 3 years old. I have memories where I had nightmares for a long time, where I actually saw my aunt drowning my sister, who was 3 years old, in a bowl of soup that was boiling. And imagine a 3-year-old fighting for air from a bowl of soup. So it wasn't even that I had a choice. It's not something you program yourself. It's like a survival instinct. Why do animals survive in the nature? Because they're instinct. And human being, we have also an instinct of survival. You know, if there is fire, you're not going to stay sitting and looking at the fire. You're going to stand up and go and run for your life. It's like gasping for air. That environment was for me not okay anymore. I saw the danger. The violence was rising more and more. The abuse became more and more. And I started actually studying them, like a hunter or an animal will study before leaving or attacking, or whatever you want to call it, because I attacked them in another way. I put justice there, like they were attacking us. I said, I'm going to make an end to it. So it's my survival instinct that I listen to. And that's why I tell people, whatever you will not put anyone else go through as pain, why would you accept it? Why would you go through this? If you have to imagine one person, we all have one person we love very much. We have more than one person, but there is one particular that is close to our heart. For everyone is different. Imagine this person was in your life, had your life, and was going through certain things. Which advice would you give that person? Why can't we do that for ourselves? And in my case was to help my siblings. And then later on, it was also to help myself because I knew what I was going through, even though I was taught silence was safer than talking. And I learned to grow up with shame. And in the end, I started even questioning certain things. So I started writing things to not forget, because the brain is something phenomenal for me, because it shields you and it protects you often without you even realizing. And when people say, oh, I have anxiety, I have panic attack, it's because it can't handle it anymore. It has to give it away, like to get out. It's to say, like, this is the limit that I can hold for you. And that's your own body speaking to you. So there is no shame. So when you have it, sit with it. Say, I feel you. I hear you because you are me. And write down what you feel. In the beginning, it's very silly, but bit by bit, it's like walking. You didn't start running from the beginning. You start crawling, standing up, falling down. No one expected you to stand up and start walking suddenly. It's same with the healing process. Every step is closer to your healing. And there is just that fight spirit you have to find it, and we all have it. We learn to put it away. We learn to dim it, to not be too much, not be taking too much place, bothering people, be silent. But you're only hurting yourself. and you protecting the people who actually hurt you.
Now, I guess the other part of it is that healing is not something that is quick. When you've been through trauma, abuse, and struggles, and trauma comes in all forms, not just from physical abuse,
Hello.
but also when your internal monologue, when you're facing something that is scary and your body is unable and your mind is unable to process that pathway for children, for example, who are on a medical journey, the trauma from not understanding what a medical professional is doing or why they're doing it because it's just outside their cognitive capacity is massive. And you were talking about the panic attacks when your body is so overwhelmed that it just can't take any more. In a child like yourself and your sister and your brother, your brain does not have the tools to be able to process it then. And so when we look at healing childhood trauma, adult trauma, any type of impact, it's something that takes time and you have to allow yourself grace. You're not judging yourself in how you heal. You're not looking at somebody else because everybody's healing journey is different. And as a caregiver, where you didn't look at what happened to yourself, but you looked at what the potential was for your siblings and you took on the caregiving responsibility for them. And at a very young age, you wrote in The Eldest Pays in Silence that by 8 years old, I was caring for my siblings like their mother. I knew what it meant to be needed because if I could keep them okay, maybe I could survive too. And I know for myself that resonated so significantly because in any journey through my childhood, through being an adult and having those experiences, that knowing that you can overcome it if you can protect and journey somebody through it as well. It's just when it's time to invest in self-care and love and the healing journey. So how did those duties affect your sense of purpose? And what advice would you have for caregivers who are struggling to balance caring for others while trying to nurture their own inner selves?
Personally, in my case, it helped me in the beginning, but then it worked against me. And I will tell you why. Because you keep having that role, that it's for your friends, that is for strangers, and you always put yourself last. And people who've been through that, they will understand. I took a role of a mother, and I only realized it a year ago, where I actually said, I am not your mother and I'm not your father, because I didn't only take the role of a mother, but also of a father. And it was a turning point for me because I learned slowly to put boundaries. Because people who will receive, even though they don't realize it, but they think it's normal. As a child, I've been doing that, and I continue as an adult. And the moment you say, hey, I can't hear, do you blame them? Imagine I give a kid candies. I'm going to make it very simple. Every night, I give them candies. And one night I tell them, listen, you're going to have a sugar rush, no candies tonight. The child will not understand. And my connection with them was for so many years and still is. I love them like they were my first children, basically. That role continue, but I took that role. They didn't ask me to take that role. I took that role. And I had to realize there is a moment I have to take care of myself. In a plane, and any plane you take, they say, put your mask first before helping others. And the first time I took a plane was when I was 7 years old. Until today, when I hear it, I smile because it reminds me now that you can't help others if you don't get the oxygen. And you can only get the oxygen if you are really well. And where you say, stop. And actually, that's also a way to help them to stand on their own feet. Because otherwise you create a sort of dependency. even though if they don't want it, but they're used for you to step in whenever there is a problem. And you never question yourself because it's your habit. It's like the kids getting candies every day. So you have to learn to detach. There is a moment where you help, but there is another moment where you don't help anymore. Both of you, because you create a dependency. And that's the really tricky part. And I really had to say, like, this is it. I'm not there to be all the time frontline and taking the hit when the hits need to be taken. I have to step back. Let them make their own mistakes. So like this, they will learn from their mistakes. Because in the end of the day, I need to live my own life as well. And any caregiver, if they don't question how you are, and it's not because they don't love you almost, but I often heard, but you never complain. You never say this. You don't say that you are in pain. Even when I was divorced and I didn't tell my sister and my brother at the time. And I was going through pain and still smile when I saw them because I would put all my energy there. Should I blame them? No, I have to blame myself because I'm so used to give that I didn't know how to receive. And bit by bit, I learned to accept help that is for my friends, for my sister, for my brother. But it's something very difficult because I'm not used to it. But they're actually willing to help you as well. But if you always put your strong side and you'd never tell them because you feel responsible for them. But a balanced love is when there is balance. That's why it's a balanced love. Otherwise, it's all the time like this. You can't pour from an empty cup because if you feel empty and you keep giving, what will happen to you? What they will have from you?
You'll end up burnt
And
out.
yes. And often we take this role of superhero. It can be good for a moment, but then it's actually you're not helping them. It's like your kids, you know? I say the same with my son. He's 12 now. When I'm tired, I say, Mommy's tired, baby. Today, Mommy's really tired. I need you to be there as well for me. It's not that I tell him, you take my burden, but just to make him understand it's okay not to be okay. And even we as adults, if he see only a strong mother, because one time he told me, but Mom, you're always strong. I say, no, baby, because kids now, 12 hormones, they're growing older. He said, I'm not feeling good in this, but he couldn't put words on it. And I said, but baby, mommy also sometimes cry. It's normal. He said, you cry? I said, yeah, I also cry. I feel pain. And I normalize something that he felt almost ashamed of. And as parents, we do not shield our children by making it look like we are robots and we have no emotions. I don't say start crying and telling your life story and all your pain towards your child. You protect them, but you also make them understand. Like we also have bad days. And not by being moody to them and start, it can happen. But I also go to my son, I say, sorry, I reacted really wrong. I apologize because even though I'm his mother, I put him as a equal. So it's not because I'm the parent, I'm always right. Because I've been in his shoes. We want to make life look so perfect for our children that in the end, we actually put them in opposite direction of us. If we communicate more with them, and it's same with the people you take care of and you're a caretaker of them, you should communicate with them. They should be able to call you and say, how are you? And having a conversation with you. If it's always you taking care of them, it's not healthy. Not for you, not for them. Because you're not helping each other. And that's not how love is. Love, whatever you can give back, even if it's just a smile, a hug, or a little call or text like, hey, thank you, you're a rock star. I mean, just to make you smile or remind you of nice things you had together, it do a lot for the caregivers. But you have to be able also to receive and not feeling uncomfortable because I know how it is. You almost feel like uncomfortable while you've been giving so much. And then when they give you something, it's like, no, don't spend your money on this. You need it more. No, let them also give something back in return. because you also worth to receive. You've been giving so much.
Yes, and I think because as caregivers, we do make sure that we're meeting all of their needs, that as we transition, as they're getting bigger, because there is a time where, yes, you need to be everything and all things, but that journey of empowering them along the way to be able to do, for example, do the dishes so that when they are an adult, they have the capacity. And if, for example, they have sensory processing and dishes are difficult, it's giving them the tools to say, okay, well, yes, this is a problem. How do we resolve it? What things can we do together to teach you to be able to manage the water and the dirtiness and all of those things so that they feel empowered in themselves to go, hey, I can do this. Yes, it's hard, but here are the tools. And as we go along in that journey and we are working out as the caregiver, what we need to do to empower them. Not only is it a joyous occasion when they accomplish it and when they overcome something that is really challenging, and the dishes is a small metaphor for bigger things, emotional.
It is the beginning, yes.
Yeah. And so I think you're right in that transition period takes time. But it's also important that as they get bigger and as they become their own individual person with amazing personalities and nuanced excitements that they have, like in animals or art, in whatever they choose to do. So as caregivers, it's a joyous thing for them to also then turn around and recognize when we're not okay, when we need a moment, a hug, time out, whatever it might be, in that moment where they go, hey, let's go out for a cuppa, or I can see that we need just a day of fun, or whatever it might be. Those are the moments that we celebrate in our journey, because when you're talking about trauma, abuse, when you're talking about the really difficult things in life that some people never experience,
Yeah.
you want to equip them so that when they go out, they have the tools to be the best person they can be, but also not pass on any of the things and the traumas that they've experienced. And knowing that you have been able to instill compassion, love, understanding, and patience when those challenging times come, by showing that it can be handled differently. Those are the silent wins. They're the micro wins that people don't see when you're on a caregiving journey. People see, a trophy is won, or they're big moments of celebration. But when you are a caregiver and you're seeing these accomplishments, and they might be small, but they're equally as powerful in those moments. And so I know that your memoir highlights the brutal impact of both racism and emotional neglect, especially growing up in divided cultures. How did carrying these conflicting labels affect your sense of self? And when did you start reclaiming your identity on your own terms?
It was not easy because you never belong somewhere. So I was holding on to my sister and my brother because they were closest to me. They looked like me. And wherever you're going through, I always say, like, find the light, even in the darkest place. There is even a flicker of light. Hold on to that light. And the more you give love to that light, the more it grows. So the more I was looking at my brother and my sister, I actually appreciated myself more because I found them beautiful. So even when people were saying you're ugly, you're a nigger, or then you're too white, I had my siblings and I was looking at them. I say, if I can find them beautiful, people can say what they want in a way. Of course, it hurt me. It makes you doubt who you are and where you belong because we all want to belong somewhere. So imagine already within your family, you don't belong in a way. My grandmother on my mother's side in Africa, she loved us and she's still alive. And I went to see her 3 years ago and made my mother's grave. And it was very impactful because I had to actually reconnect with once I left over there. So it was a very strong identical move for me to actually find who I truly was. And when I left there, it was for me like, I am actually black and white. And that's just the fact. I don't have to choose where I belong. I am me, and that's enough. I belong to myself. And once you make that click, anything else is just about acceptance. If you accept yourself, people can say whatever they want. They can call me stupid as long as I don't call myself stupid. That's the most important. And whatever you're going through, whatever struggle you have, if it's too much in your head, just start writing things down. For me, it's been massive. I've been writing things since age of 15. It started with therapy. One time a lady told me, start writing down. And actually at age of 9, I was writing songs. I remember then when did my memoir, so, and you have people, the singers that write songs about their pain. And when you hear the song, it's like it's speaking to your soul. And when you read the book, it's like it's speaking to you. It's not like just a book you're holding in your hand. It's like a mirror of you. And whatever works for you, find a way how to refine who you are, what you were before being a caregiver. What were your little joys? What were the little sadness? And for that, you have to be fully and completely, yes, honest with yourself. And it's not easy because still healing, it's not something that you do overnight. If you have to ask me, I will be healing all my life. And there is no time frame as long as you continue working towards it.
Would you say that silence can be both survival and a prison?
It depends for what silence, Michelle. Because I was actually taught silence is safer. Now, because I would be beaten up if I would have said in school, they're beating us up. They're giving us leftovers from food. We're being locked in basements. The food is behind locks. And also they put a sort of shame in silence. Silence is also often with shame because you don't dare to talk about it or you're afraid to talk about it. And it can save you for a moment, but who are you actually saving? That's a real question. Because if you go into things that you wouldn't wish it for someone you love, why would you accept and just silence yourself? Because then it's a prison, invisible prison, but a prison is a prison.
From reading your memoir, what would you say was the turning point when you decided to break the silence that had protected you up until that point in away from shame and guilt and the unknown? What did it cost you emotionally to make that decision to break your silence?
I had to revisit the past, every part of it, relive every part of it. Many times I said, I can't, even though I'm a fighter. I've been fighting for a long time. And the problem with fighters and caretakers, caregivers, they often have that fight. But when you continue fighting, there is a moment where you don't even know how to stop
Very
because
true.
you've been on the go all the time. And even when you have something peaceful, you think you're still in a fight and you do not enjoy it as much. And when there is calm, it's almost like, what should I do next now? You know, who can I help? Because you have to face yourself. So if you have difficulty to really sit with what happened and why, and the real question is, why did you step in as a caregiver? And
What
we
did you
all, yes, ask yourself that question. In the beginning, you will say like, okay, how do I answer on that? So you have to revisit the little child in you. Somewhere along, something you picked up, something you saw, someone you wanted protected. And this is not something that I invented. I heard so many stories. So many people came to me. I was in an orphanage. So I know I was with kids from broken families. Kids, and we come back to that. Kids are like a sponge. It's when you have a sponge brand new, put it in the water. What does it do?
soaks it all up?
It soaks it all up. And that's the same with children. And somewhere deep in your unconscious, you felt the need to protect, or you needed to be protected. And you have to revisit that and find a way to accept that reality and find peace with that to be able to continue with the next step. What happened then? So it's like layers, like you peeling. You know, artichokes, artichaut in French,
Yeah.
it's like this. I see it like this to give you a visual, you have layers and layers and layers and layers. But the heart is the softest part, the most delicious part. And that's you. And then you have all the layers that came around you that actually created the adult you are now. And often you do things that you don't even know. It's just a reaction and a way you've been coping. But you have to see, is it really continue helping me? Because your survival and your instinct help you to a certain point. You don't always have to keep it on. It's nice to put your arms down and say, like, I breathe. Just enjoy to breathe, to walk outside and look around, sit down, even next to a tree, and just say, like, what, I'm safe. I hug my sister, I hug my brother, I hug my son. But I learned to hug myself first. When I was a child and I saw them being hugged because they were, even though they went through hard things, they were still the favorite of my uncle and my aunt. So I was always the one that was a bit too much because I was the oldest and I couldn't accept certain things. And they knew that I was judging them in a way. Even if you don't talk, people feel, your body language will say it. Your eyes speak more than your mouth.
Yeah. And when we're looking at our caregiving roles, sometimes it's really hard and feels risky to speak your truth, to be vulnerable, the courage that it takes to put your story out
And
there.
words to it, words to it,
Mm. Yeah.
words to it. We minimize often what we've been through or
Mm.
the responsibilities we took. And that is what is very, many people, like givers, we often put ourselves then in relationship with takers. Why? Because the taker will never be with the taker because they can only take what you can take from a taker.
Not a lot. You can't
Exactly.
take from a
Yeah.
taker.
Yeah.
And
And
as
givers,
carers,
yeah,
yeah, we're
caring
givers.
people, we give. You don't have a limit. They don't have a limit. So it's very, very important with who you put yourself because we try to save all the time, but at what cost?
Yes, at what cost?
At what cost?
What practical ways do you use and can provide advice on about starting to safely express somebody's truth, somebody's story, especially when they fear rejection or ramifications from coming forward and speaking their truth?
I would say start by being by yourself. In the end of the day, when you are a giver and a caretaker, you feel very lonely often. And we don't put words to it because we're giving so much love. It's to heal something that we have in us as well, because it makes us feel good when we give. So you have to learn to be by yourself, meaning to sit down with you and just be honest. You start being true to yourself, honest with yourself. Don't make it look nicer than it is. Just be purely honest.
No
Write it
sugarcoating.
down. No sugarcoating. Don't make it look nicer. Or if you have to write down 1 week, you continue every day, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And then the next week you continue. And then in a month you start reading and you will see like, ah, yes, then this, I was actually hurt, you know. And that's why I say never compare your pain with someone else's pain because we always try it like, no, but it's not that bad. You know, in my orphanage, I knew a girl, for me, her life was crazy, you know. I thought I had a really good life compared to her. But again, that's we comparing our pain. Like you said before, a divorce of someone's parents can be the worst in their life. Is their pain more than mine? No. because they don't know anything else in pain, in term of pain. So who am I to say like, oh, but this is nothing. I was in orphanage. I was sent away from my mother. No, they can't understand that. So you learn already not to compare your pain with other people's pain. And you learn to be you and finding you again. No sugarcoating. Don't make it look nicer. And just be true to yourself. And it's the same with boundaries. So first you find yourself. Then you find what hurt you. The things that hurt you, I call it the vitamin N. That's what I use, Michelle. Do you know what the vitamin N is?
No, please tell me.
You know what's the vitamin C?
Yes.
The vitamin D, yes?
Mm-hmm.
The vitamin N, it's the only vitamin you can take. You can buy it. You have to produce it.
Mm-hmm.
And the power to say no, even if it's one no a day. Something you feel uncomfortable, something that hurt you, you say, no, I can't do this. It's one no. Next week, so every day, one no for 1 week. The week after, you do 2 no's and you write down. Third week, 3 no's. And you continue. I don't say you become a selfish person, but you set your boundaries.
And so in that process of writing it down, are you acknowledging how that no made you feel?
Exactly.
What the outcome was of the no? Was it devastating? Was it fine? So that you can track that giving yourself some things back is empowering for yourself.
Very. A no for another is a yes for you. Don't forget that. The
That's
time
very
you spend listening an hour to a friend, if you already, it's the same thing. You have some friends and people around you that is family members. They always have a problem. Or we have people, they always have a problem. Their life is like, I can do with this, can do with that. Just say no. I can't. Today, no. And they would say, what do you mean? It's always me listening to you. Don't you realize it? I love you, but this has to stop. And they're shocked in the beginning. But if they have common sense and you actually will put them in front of the reality. So that's where you giving them also help without giving your time away, because you learn them to be independent by themselves. And you're not there listening. You're not their therapist. There is a limit we all have.
very true.
So that's the first step. And by writing things down, you actually release them. Some people sing, some people do it in art, and they express their pain into art, their, happiness, frustration. You see some art and you're like, wow, this speaks to me. And then others, you don't even get what it means. And the thing with art or with songs or even with books is the emotion they triggered. And one person is totally other than the other. We can look to 2 paintings and we can see totally different things. And yet it's the same.
Yes. But each
Yes,
individual's experience
exactly.
leads to how somebody is interpreting that particular process, that particular art form. And by understanding and having bandwidth or space to understand that everybody's life experience is different, you're then able to understand why this painting means something completely different to you and me. And there may be times where we see the same thing, but there are more times than not where our individual experiences impact how we interpret, read, and then how we reissue the information, because our life's journey have taken us in different directions. And that doesn't mean that my understanding or your understanding is better than the other. It's just different. And learning to be able to be okay with difference is so important in our society, in our world, as caregivers, as mums, in our roles, to show acceptance, to show grace and gratitude. And I think when you're talking about journaling, and the importance of journaling for yourself in that step to telling somebody's truth as a first step to being able to be okay. If you can write it down and read it and process it and ultimately accept that that's what happened to me. That was my reality. That's how actually I was listening to a doctor talk about how siblings in one household, they don't have the same parent. They don't have the same experience because of gender, age, what order you came in, and therefore all three children, for example, if you're in a home, all three children have a different experience, have a different upbringing, and therefore produce a completely different life's journey. And in your Mundele Diaries, I feel like it's more than a memoir. It's a call to awaken. What's the key takeaway you hope to impart on readers and listeners healing from trauma?
You got that really correct. It's more, it's, I actually lay my truth, my past, my pain, things that even friends who know me for so many years, they didn't even know about it. And they were shocked. They say, Pam, you're always the happy one. You're always the strong one. We didn't know that you've been through all this. Why didn't you ever spoke about it? I say, I wasn't ready. And the fact that I wrote and I'm doing some speaking and podcast, it's to actually, with the book, say, hey, whatever dark place you are in, it's time for you to go to the light. You deserve a life. You deserve healing. And to have a life, you need to go through your healing journey. And that's why the book you read, it's very, I do not sugarcoat. What happened, happened.
Very raw and
Yeah.
very honest, I feel. You can really feel from your writing.
I cried many pages. I mean, the book, I mean, this is the second time I'm actually publishing the book because I had a friend for 18 years who modified my book, first book, behind my back and made it look nicer. And I was like really taken away from it because she actually told me that you should never make anyone make you feel like you have to make it look nicer because only you know what's happened. You know when your child is crying and there is no father or no one to help you to pay the bills the next morning and still you have to go to work and yet be awake in the middle of the night for your child. No one knows those moments. You are the one who's there standing or when you feel sick, but still you're going to work because you know you can risk your job. And this is volume 1. So there are many topics that I can talk about. And I say like, ladies, man, whoever you are, wherever you are, don't put your arms down or don't let people put tape in front of your mouth and making you feel ashamed. Own your past so no one can ever make you believe that you're crazy or you're inventing things or your pain is less painful than what you actually felt. And that's my message through the book. And that's why it's raw and people will betray you in life. I accept that. But you know what? I will keep the best out of it. It's a very nice lesson. And I thank that friend in a way. Thanks to her, I really went deeper into the story. There was no holding back. And actually, people in my family, you can imagine, because it's about also family and because your family, your first circle, they have the first seat to hurt you.
Yeah.
They have the first seat, your direct family members, your partner, your husband. Why? You trust them. And you have to make sure that trust, it's important to have trust and to believe in people. But when people hurt you and do things, and then they make it look like it's your fault, or it's to protect you, or it's you ask for it, gaslighting you, stop. You can be who you want, who you are. You can be even kids, their kids grow up and they damage more. It's both sides. They had very loving parents and then they take for everything for granted. Why? The parent failed to show them empathy because they were used to receive everything. So they did not learn that not everyone will do that. And I'm not doing that because I have to do it. I'm doing that because I love you and care for you. So you have both ways. And in a way, my story made me realize like my son helps me with the bed, everything. I had to make him a responsible young man without the abuse. I had him to grow. I don't say he has to wake up at 4 a.m. like I used to do to go and work, but he cleans up his bed, even though I have someone come and clean in my house. They are not there to pick up his clothes from the floor. I tell them, leave it on the floor. He plays tennis. If he's not putting it there, I say, well, did you put it in the laundry? No, I forgot. Well, they are not clean. I'm sorry, baby. Well, the next time, funny enough, all his clothes since then been always nicely in the laundry. When he picks up his clothes and just throw them on the floor, you are not their maid. You're their mother. And often we as mother, we overgive and we think it's helping them, but no, it's not. Because they will expect the same from their partner, their husband or their wife when they grow older. But my mother used to do that. Yeah, but you didn't marry your mother. I mean, I'm sorry. If you want to help, you need a balance. And I'm sorry if you're not picking up the stuff of your kids and everything. You know what? You have more time to sit with them, cuddle them, play, a game with them, and you're less exhausted. The dishwashing, or a dishwasher. You help them do plate, take their plate. You're not in a restaurant. When my son leaves his plate, I say, baby, can I order a coffee? And he say, what, mommy? I say, well, a coffee. I thought the restaurant is still open because I see the plate on the table. I make a joke out of it.
Yeah.
And then he say, oh, sorry, mom, I forgot. I say, well, I would love for you to do mine now. I'm forgetting mine now and I'm joking about it. And then he hugged me. He said, sorry, mom, you're right. But you see, I don't say you scream at them and say, clean your plate and you're frustrated. That's how you want to be talked to. And often when we're exhausted, it's so hard to handle certain things. How ways, la forme et la façon, the way you say things and the form, the way you express. You
Mhm.
have ways of saying and the way of expressing. And if you bend and you find each other, even as a single mother, I'm a single mother. I love my son. I love spending time with him. I'm very happy. And
That's
yeah,
important.
and yes, and you should be proud and celebrate every little win. Even if you woke up just one day, you felt so down and you just woke up. You know what? Do this and say, okay, you got this. Today's a better day. Come on. A new day starts with dark. It's for me, it's midnight now. It's dark outside.
Yeah.
It's a new day. And slowly, slowly the sun come up. That's like us. See it like this. Every little step will help you, but take it. Don't sit there and cry it out. Cry when you need, splash water, your face. I have days as well that I say, oh, I can't today, but I have no shame about it. I write. I have my book. I write down. And then when I read it, I say, oh, yeah, I understand. I was thinking about this. And you will see that often your brain does not make the difference what happens and what is immediate because you try to fix everything now. But some things need to sit and say like, whoa. And with a clear mind, you find clear solutions.
I was wondering, for those early in their healing journey, what small action step can help build resistance and break harmful cycles that they could do and start today?
I would say if it's the beginning or you want to start healing, write it down and also go to the gym or go for a walk. Your mind and your body. You need to be in peace here. Here, when you go for a run or walk, if you don't know where to start, little exercise. You don't need to buy a membership at the gym. You have on YouTube exercise 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes, it's a 15 minutes in your journey, healing journey. Connect your body and your mind, because the one will help the other.
So do you find that it's a daily choice? Because healing is often said to
Yes.
be a journey and not a destination. So it's a conscious daily decision to continue to heal.
Yes, I made routines, because there were moments I started a healing journey and then I stopped because I felt fine. And then, life goes on, and then boom, you get that back. Like I said before, it's non-stop. So you have to find little things that will make you go forward and find yourself. Healing, if you ask me, you will do healing all your life in a way. So it's not like there is a timeline and everything. Even I'm fine, but I still have to force myself certain days, like, hey, come on, Pam, let's do this. You can do this. Come on. You motivate yourself. Be kind to yourself. Careful the way you speak to yourself. If someone gives you a compliment, take it. If someone tells you too much, you do this. Because during my healing journey, like my friend who betrayed me again and then told me, but I didn't do as bad as people of your family or your ex-husband or this. So she minimized my pain. And I said to her, no, 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 stop. Who are you to tell me? But you're a perfectionist. You put pressure on everyone because you want everything always perfect. I said, you know what? That's how you get things done. And it was the first time that I actually, because she was older than me, that I actually stood up. Like I say, I'm not taking this from you. You're so wrong. And you're not going to minimize how I feel that you betrayed me 30 times and you sit with me at the table. My son called you auntie. I mean, who are you? I cut her off, so yeah, little step, and the small steps makes the big impact.
And sometimes in that healing journey, our friendships change, our connections.
Definitely, yes. Because some people don't grow, and that's okay. You are not there to help them, to make them get out of there. They have to find their own way. You are not there to fix people. That idea that you have to pull everyone, I did that for many years, trying to help and pull everyone with me. I think thought I was like some kind of superwoman. Like, let me put my cape. I had a job. Let's do it. I started my beauty salon. This particular friend worked with me in the beauty salon. I was like, come on, we can do this. And trying to pull everyone. But how exhausting that is. And how much of your energy you again giving away. Some people you will outgrow them. Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah, because like you were saying, pulling them with you, really the gold that happens in our life is because if you're not passionate about it, if you don't have understanding, and when you're a business owner, if you don't have that same level of passion, you can't expect somebody else to have the same investment in everything. And so you're right, the amount of energy it takes to bring somebody along with you in the hope that they will develop the same level of passion or understanding or comprehension. It is a very
dedication.
Mm.
And dedication.
Well, that's right. And you can't expect that of somebody else. You can only expect it of yourself, of your values and what you want to achieve, that dedication to pursuing something. And that's the same with healing and caregiving. And as a business owner or an employee, you have to make that decision. And by releasing or giving away your energy, you have less in the tank for your loved ones, less in the
It's
tank for
the
your
glass, huh?
children.
You emptying your cup all the time. And for what? Honestly. And because often, and I saw that so many times, Michelle,
Mm.
often the people you help and you push them forward to good, they actually start almost resenting you and taking you accountable for things that you actually tried to help them in a way. Or when they achieve certain things, it's like you've never been there. And I've seen it with so many people.
When we're talking about bringing forward ourselves and
Yes.
pushing others, our cups end up empty. and we are the only ones who can refill them. And if we're constantly giving and digging more, it leads to burnout. And obviously, nobody wants to burn out, because then the people that we care for and we love, we're not there for them. And I wanted to talk to you, Pamela, because your story deeply connects with our Radiant Moment listeners as caregivers who face demanding realities while seeking moments of peace. What message would you most want to share with those feeling unseen, burdened, or trapped by their past, but looking for hope and empowerment moving forward into the future?
First of all, do like in the plane, put your oxygen first. Learn to give yourself the oxygen, meaning be kind to yourself, take time for yourself. And by that, you're going to have a lot of people complaining because you've been giving for so much and so much of yourself away that for them, it's normal. They don't even realize it anymore, how much it costs you. So be kind to yourself. Use the vitamin N, the power of saying no. If people tell you you're too much, do this. I heard who she thinks she is because she wrote a book and she knows now everything better. I know what I know. If I bother you, what do you do when the sun blinds you? You put your shades on. So do the same if I bother you. Because why do they keep coming to you?
Because they feel good.
They feel good because they're taking a bit of your energy. You've seen movies, vampires. I call them energy and vampires. They suck your energy out. You can have people you spend like 10 minutes and you're like, learn to protect your peace. Time is precious. What would you do if tomorrow I tell you it's the last day you will live? You have 24 hours. You will try to do as many things. Okay, one a week. What would you do? As much, much, much. 1 month, as much, much, much. 1 year, as much, much, much. Don't wait till that time. Start already now. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be good. You see me? They told me, you're ugly. They beat me up. They bruised me. They abused me. I was a victim as a child. As an adult, I refuse. They took so much from me. How much do you have to give more for you to realize that it's not okay to keep giving? You exhaust you. And those people, they feel so good because you became their doormat. They leave all their dirt on you. And what you do with the doormat, you slap it, and let the dirt go up, and you put it back in front of the door. That's you doing a little bit for yourself and yet taking all the dirt. So put your oxygen mask before helping others. Do not give your time if you feel tired, if you feel not in a good place. Tell people, not today. But if they care for you, they will ask you, are you okay? If they do not, 1 time, 2 time, it's a sign. Get the more you give, we have a saying, you give a finger, they take an arm. You give an arm, they take a part of your body until you have nothing left. So how much do you have to give to realize that? It causes stress for you and you get anxiety. The moments you cry by yourself, you feel overrun. Who are the people you call? Keep those ones close. Anyone else? They are not your friends, they are acquaintance. Family members? They are not caring for you, they are acquaintance. Make the difference. If loyalty is one of your main values, make sure the loyalty you're giving, you're receiving something back. Because otherwise, your loyalty, it's your invisible prison or your invisible chain.
Yeah. It's a balance, isn't it? Between
It's
giving and
balance.
so that the scale is equal on either side. And
Mm.
that doesn't mean that it has to be 100% of the time,
It's
100%,
never
100%.
50-50. No,
So
it
it
has
can
to
be
ovulate.
20/80 or
Yeah.
40/60.
It's good that you say that because it's true. It has to be balance. And I'm a mom. I say to my son, baby, today I'm 10%, 10% of 100%. Especially when I was writing my book, a lot of childhood memories came up. And I used to tell him, baby, mommy's writing the book. It's taking a lot. I was honest with him. And when I told him mommy's 10%, he used to come and hug me. That hug gave me 50%. So suddenly I was 60%. And I could wake up in the morning and make him pancakes, and we talk and we laugh. It's the little bits. And I don't ask him to be there and save me because it's not his job or being worried. But I explain to him, I say, doesn't mean that mommy is in a bad place. It's just mommy is very tired. So even with your kids, work with percentage. So like this, they will understand.
In closing, I would say that your mantra for anybody listening is oxygen mask first. So put yourself first before you save or rescue somebody else. Vitamin N being no, learning how to be okay and not feel guilty, and being
By
honest.
saying no to others, remember, you say yes to you.
That's correct. And I think also journaling has been a big thing that I've taken from our conversation today in empowering yourself to work through your trauma. That trauma and healing is a journey and not a destination. And it is not something that you should rush. And it's okay in your life to have pockets where you're okay and then you come back in. It's like an ebb and flow. It's not having to be heavy all the time. So, Pamela, your courageous journey reminds us that even the deepest wounds can become sources of strength. Breaking silence can spark healing personally and across generations. And reclaiming identity is a powerful act of freedom. If Pamela's story moved or inspired you, please be sure to follow her on Instagram at Mundele Diaries and check out Mundele Diaries for this compelling memoir. Thank you for joining us today on Radiant Moments, where your story matters, your healing is honoured, and your radiant light shines through every challenge.
Thank you, Michelle, for having me.
Thank you so much for being here, Pamela.